were you doing this as a favor and a friend? And then I know things went very poorly between you, but were you doing this as a favor and as a friend? And now, because things have gone poorly, you want to be paid $30 an hour?
Yes, ma'am.
This is the plaintiff, Kenneth Baugh. He says he met the defendant at work and they became fast friends. She was having a hard time, so he came to her rescue and loaned her money, which she was supposed to pay back. Then, one day, she abruptly stopped talking to him. She refuses to give him any money back, and he's here suing her for the $329.60 she owes him. This is the defendant, Marlene. She says she used to work with the plaintiff and went out with him a couple of times. When she got busy, he got angry and started harassing her to the point where he got fired and was escorted out of the building by the cops. Bottom line, he gave her a few bucks here and there for a few things. He never said it was a loan until now, and she owes him nothing and wants him to leave her alone for good. She's accused of letting a guy down.
All parties, please raise your right hands.
What you are about to witness is real. The participants are not actors. They are actual litigants with a case pending in civil court. Both parties have agreed to drop their claims and have their cases settled here before Judge Marilyn Milian in our forum, the People's Court.
The People's Court is now in session. The Honorable Judge Marilyn Milian is now presiding. Litigants have been sworn, Your Honor.
Thank you, Douglas. All right, Mr. Baugh, you are suing Ms. Marlene for $329.60. You say she owes you and won't pay you. Tell me what happened here.
All right, Judge. So we're colleagues at work, and she was moving, so she needed assistance.
She was a colleague of yours at work, and she was moving and she needed help, okay?
Yes. She called and told me that her sister and her friends, or those she thought were going to help her, cannot help her. So am I available to help her out?
Okay.
And I said, yeah, that's fine. So we agreed that she was going to reserve a U-Haul, which she did, and she texted me that she had reserved and paid for the U-Haul. But the only thing is, they close the U-Haul store before she gets off at work. The U-Haul closes at 7 o'clock, and she gets off at 9 o'clock. So how are we going to do that? And I said, well, if you've reserved it and paid for it, then I guess I could pick it up for you.
Yeah, but that's not how it works, because when you get there, U-Haul wants the contract in the name of the person who...
Yep.
And she probably didn't pay for it. Did you pay for it, Ms. Marlene?
No, ma'am, and that was relayed to the plaintiff.
So what's the deal? Were you supposed to pay for it, or is he supposed to pay for your move?
He's not supposed to pay for my move.
Okay, so you're supposed to pay him for the U-Haul, right? Reimbursed.
No, ma'am. I was not to pay him. I asked him to take my card or if I can transfer him the money. He said, do not worry about it. So I was not supposed to pay him.
Right, but when you send him to go pick up your U-Haul, it's your expense. So what you're saying to me is he gave you a gift of the U-Haul, like, oh, don't worry about it, I'll take care of it. That's what you're saying.
Correct.
Is that before or after he picks it up?
That was before, because I explained to him that the person who picks it up, it has to be in their name. That card has to be in
here's
the
my
person
question.
who picked
Is
it up
any
name.
of that in the text between you guys?
No, that was verbally relayed.
Okay. So, Mr. Baugh, I understand what you're suing for the U-Haul. What's the gas you're suing for?
I went to pick up the U-Haul from the store. Took it
So
to
the
her
gas in
place
your
where she
personal
was
car?
staying. Yeah.
All right, and you're also suing for labor, but were you doing this as a favor and a friend? And then I know things went very poorly between you, but were you doing this as a favor and as a friend? And now, because things have gone poorly, you want to be paid $30 an hour? But she never agreed to pay you $30 an hour, right? There was never a contract to pay you $30 an hour.
No, it wasn't agreed, but she agreed she would pay for my gas, and she never did.
Okay,
And
so
then
now
I
let's
had to
talk about the Airbnb. What's the Airbnb?
This was earlier before she even moved. That she was going to go to Miami for the carnival, and that she didn't have funds at the time, but she really wanted to go. And that she wanted me to loan her the money. And then once, because she had just got on the phones or started working officially, and that once she gets some enrollment and gets some money, she'll pay me the money back. So I sent a couple of selections to her, and she opted for the one she wanted. And then I verified with her and then paid for it and sent her the confirmation, which she never paid me the money as well.
Okay, but wait, is this a trip the two of you were going to do together?
No, initially it was just her and her friend.
And then?
So when I started asking her for the monies for the U-Haul and the hotel, she told me she didn't want to talk to me again. I'm like,
Wait, at
what's
any
going
point
on?
in time were you invited to go on the trip to Miami?
Later on, yes.
After she told you she didn't want to talk to you anymore?
Yes. So when I
After she
started
told you I don't
asking her
want to
for the
talk to you
money-
anymore?
Yes.
That doesn't make any sense.
When
She
I
didn't-
started asking her for the money,
When did she invite you on the trip?
it was after I had helped her move.
Okay.
But before that,
And
I
were
had
you
already
going
known
on?
that-
I want you to listen to my questions. When she invites you to go on the trip, do you say, yes, I want to go on the trip?
Yeah, I say yes.
Okay. And then when do you buy the Airbnb or the reservations?
It was on September 10th.
Okay. And it was for an October 9th trip to Miami, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So when you say you sent it to her, you mean you said hotel choice from these three: Holiday Inn Miami, West
Yes, ma'am.
Airport. Okay.
Yes.
All right. So,
So she opted for one out of the three.
okay. Which did she opt for, by the way?
The one with the hat. This one right there.
The one with the heart. Okay. Now, was there ever any discussion about the cancellation policy on the Airbnb?
Yes.
What was the discussion?
So after she confirmed the one she wanted, I told her for her to get that offer, she had to. We have to place the order by a certain date.
Is there anywhere where you text her what the cancellation policy is?
So I tried following up with her on September 16th, but she had asked me not to call or contact her because I asked for the monies. So I told a friend to tell her that she has, if she's not going to go for the Miami trip, she has up to September 22nd.
Do you have any proof of
Sorry,
what you just
September
said? Do you have any
21st.
proof of what you just
Cancel.
said? Do you have any proof of what you just said?
No, I couldn't, she said I shouldn't contact her at that time. so
No.
I didn't.
Do you have any proof that you relayed to her through a friend? Do you have an affidavit from that friend?
No, I don't have contact with a friend.
All right. Now, according to you, Ms. Marlene, when did you tell him that you did not? Because, you know, his money's green. It's green enough for the U-Haul. It's green enough for the Airbnb. Why are you having him pay for these things for you? Because he will?
I didn't have him pay.
Well,
No,
why
I
do you
didn't
let
have
him?
pay
Why do
for
you allow him to
anything
pay
me.
for it?
So I offered to pay him back twice, Your Honor. and
That's
he
not my
said,
question.
"Don't worry
My
about it,"
question is,
several
right,
times.
but my question to you is, why are you accepting it? Are the two of you dating at any point in time?
No,
At all?
No.
Nothing?
no.
No, not one
No.
date?
We went on dates, but we weren't in a relationship.
No, I understand. That wasn't my question. My question
Okay.
was, were you dating? Not, are you in a relationship? Were you, maybe that wasn't specific enough. But did you go out to dinner or to an event or something? Just the two of
Yes.
you? Yes. And how many
Yes.
times had you gone out?
Twice.
Okay. So you felt that he was kind of being stalkerish, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And why did you feel that way?
Well, when in the times we were getting to know each other, we did go out a couple times. He wanted to go out more. I explained to him, I'm a single mom. I really don't have that much time to invest in you. So
Is that how you said it?
he kept,
You're a charmer.
yes, ma'am.
Okay.
I was trying to be respectful.
Okay.
Like, I don't have time. I
Okay.
don't have time. He kept like, can we do this? Can we do that? Not today. To the point where if I'm on the phone with my girlfriend, he's blowing me up. Why are you not answering the phone? So then I'm like, okay, you know what? You're asking for too much. I think we just need to put it on ice because it's too much for me. I cannot give you what you're looking for.
Right. And will you
I
send him a
literally told him
text
that.
says, I do not want to talk to you later. You are not respecting my boundaries. Really? So if you don't want to talk, how do you know mine and how do I know yours? The boundaries. I'm telling you now, I need space and time. Once I'm ready, I'll let you know. And if you want to still talk, cool. If not, then cool. He says, okay, cool, but that's all you can say? What do you have to say about the money that you didn't even inform me about its receipt nor pay it back as agreed initially? So you tell him that you need him to respect your boundaries. He doesn't respect your boundaries. What does he do that causes you to call your HR department? Because the two of you were working together. You were co-workers. What happens? You tell me, Ms. Marlene.
So on the 18th, September 18th, he shows up to my house unannounced at 7 o'clock in the morning.
At 7 in the morning on a Saturday?
7 in the morning on a Saturday, bamming on my door.
With breakfast?
With some donuts.
Right. So, right.
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 So that's when I blocked him. I blocked him that day from calling me, texting me, because prior to that,
did you tell him, or you had already told him about the boundaries?
I had already told him about the boundaries.
Okay, here's what I want to know. He comes by unannounced on that Saturday, and what do you say to him when he brings you the donuts and stuff? What do you say to him?
I told him, you have no reason to pop up at my house. This is unacceptable. You don't need to be here.
And what did he say?
Honestly, I didn't even hear anything he had to say. I was very upset.
Did you let him into your house, or did you tell him all this at the door?
I told him at the door.
All right. Now, what's the next thing that happens on the job that you felt was creepy?
So that was Saturday. I blocked him. Sunday happens. Don't hear from him. Monday, we sit on opposite sides of the building, and I'm literally all the way at the end of the aisle. He comes to the end of the aisle and like puts his hands on my shoulder. And I'm like, bro, like, get away from me. I don't want to talk to you. I told you that already. That was Monday. Tuesday, he does the same thing. And then my coworkers saw how upset I was, and they said, you need to leave from here. And that's when I put my supervisor and my manager on notice that I don't want to talk to him anymore. He's doing too much. Like, it's making me feel uncomfortable.
Right. Did you ever tell him, listen, I'm going to go to HR on you? Because you ended up costing him his job. This was somebody you were dating. And then, yes, I understand he's creepy. You don't want to be, I got all that. Did you realize that they were going to fire him when you complained?
No, I didn't realize they were going to fire him.
But they did,
right?
But
I told him to leave me alone, and he got himself fired, Your Honor, because he was told to leave me alone, and he did not. He was told by his manager and my manager to leave me alone, and he did not.
Okay, tell me about that. Your manager and his manager tell him to leave you alone, and what contact did he have with you after that?
So after that, they said, don't email her, don't talk to her, don't send anything. He sends me an email, and that says, I got you. And it was just a list of phone numbers.
What is it that he was trying to give you with that list of phone numbers? Do you know, yes or no?
No, I don't know.
All right, so he contacts you, and then you bring that up to their attention. Tell me about when he drives slowly to come up when you're outside.
So this is what made me real uncomfortable. I got off of work at 9 o'clock. He got off at 6. As I'm walking out to the parking lot, and I park close to the building, I see a car in the back of the parking lot, and it starts creeping up to my car, and I'm like, who is that? What's going on? It was him.
Mm-hmm.
And what day was this, after or before the bosses had told him not to contact you?
This was after.
Okay.
Because he sent the email the next morning.
Okay.
And that's when I went to HR myself, and I said, these are the series of events that's happening. I also submitted
So the slow roll in the car was after he had been warned not to have contact.
Correct.
And he slow rolls, and what does he do? He comes up, it's 3 hours after his quitting time, and he rolls up, and what happens?
He rolls up next to my car, and I told my car worker, I said, help me get into my car. She got between the two cars, and another coworker helped me get into my car, and I left.
And did she say something to him?
Yes, she did.
She told him what?
She told him to leave me alone.
Mr. Ba, apparently they called you in and they fired you. What did they say they were firing you for? They didn't tell you?
They didn't give me any reason.
Okay.
So, Your Honor, before that,
and then after that is when you filed this case. You feel you shouldn't have to pay him for the U-Haul because he said, I gotcha. You feel, but
Sorry?
you were supposed to pay him for the U-Haul. You just feel you shouldn't have to because he said, I gotcha, don't worry about it. You feel that you don't have to pay him for the Airbnb because did you end up finding the text where you said with the move and everything, I don't think I can go? Do you remember when you said that?
Yes, that was done on September 9th. Yes, ma'am.
September 9th. Now, how can that be if he made the reservation September 11th?
Exactly. So I told him on September 9th that I was not in a financial situation to go on this trip that he invited me to. And then he said, don't worry about it. I got you. And then he made the reservations on his own on the 11th. From the very beginning, he knew I was not financially able to do it.
Okay. Do you have any proof, Mr. Ba, that she was supposed to pay you for the Airbnb? Because I see you saying "I got you" a bunch of times. When she says, she says, I can't go, I can't financially go, your answer is "I got you." Is there any other proof of what the agreement was between you folks, or any proof that you ever told her about a cancellation policy? Yes or no? Proof. By proof, I mean texts or emails, or you forwarding something that would let her know what a cancellation policy was, because I don't see it in the text, okay? And based on that, here is how I'm going to rule. $57.53 of the U-Haul, you were supposed to pay him until he says, "Don't worry, I got you," because he's sweet on you. He's changed his mind. He doesn't want "I got you." And that's your expense, so I'm going to order you to pay that. The gas to and from, that would never have been something that you would have agreed to do. The labor, that would never have been something that you would have agreed to do. And the Airbnb, I do not find any evidence of him telling you a cancellation policy, so I don't find that you owe that. But I do find that you owe the U-Haul amount. That's $57.53. Verdict for the plaintiff, because he can change his mind on whether he got you. And if you get him fired, he's not happy, so he no longer wants to get you. That's your expense. You pay it. That's my verdict.
So the plaintiff only gets $57 of the $329 he was seeking here in court. Marlene, you got to give him $57. That's for the U-Haul. Are you okay with that?
I guess, but I don't like being blamed for him getting him fired. He's an adult, and he was told to leave me alone.
Yeah, no, well, we understand that, and I can understand how you feel. I know you want him to leave you alone now and be out of your life. Is that happening, do you think? What's the story?
No, I don't have any
it.
contact
Okay,
with him.
so
I blocked him on everything, yeah.
All right, good enough. Well, hopefully for you, he'll be out of your life after you pay $57 that the judge says you have to pay. All right, Mr. Ba, you're going to get a little bit of money, not what you wanted. You get $57. What are you thinking?
Yeah, it's just unfortunate helping someone out, and I found myself in such a mess. It's just unfortunate.
Well, hopefully you learned something from that. And I assume you're going to leave her alone. Is that right? It's obvious she doesn't want you in her life right now.
I had left her alone. All I needed was my money. That was it. And she just twisted the case.
Okay. All right, that'll wrap it up for this case. Let's see what Harvey has to say.
So, Doug, interesting case because, in a way, the judge kind of split the difference here. That the plaintiff was so smart, did what we've been talking about for a long time, which is to send a text, and now the text went to the judge, and the judge realized, yes, it was a loan. On the other hand, you got things like gas money and other things that often changes hands with two people, especially if they've dated, and that, unless it is specifically called a loan, isn't.
Marilyn, you ever catch your children in a lie? And when you question them, do you use the same kind of techniques you use on the show?
Absolutely, right? I tell people all the time, like with best practice, I got a lot of practice as a litigator, as a prosecutor, prosecuting death penalty cases, cross-examining, murderers.
Yeah.
But the best experience at cross-examination comes with motherhood.
Isn't that the truth?
Yeah. So, we use exactly the same techniques in our house, and they fold like a cheap suit.
They often do,
yes.
Right? And then we have different techniques that we use. We sometimes use good cop, bad cop stuff, right?
Oh, yeah. Who's the good cop and who's the bad one?
You're always the bad cop.
Yes, exactly.
Because you do it so well.
Yeah.
Right? And I'm the good cop because I guess I do that well.
Because everybody wants to be the good cop.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Everybody wants to be. Well, I'm glad. In some ways, I'm kind of glad you weren't my mom growing up, because every now and then I could put one past her, but not so much with you, I guess.
This is the plaintiff, Lucas Sumbasakis. He says he brought his car to the defendants for repair, and the guy never did solve the engine problems, and he wants his money back. The defendant also lied to him about new parts they used when they weren't. And this dishonest guy must be taught a lesson, so he's suing for the $1,186.14 he's now owed. This is the defendant, Jose Barcia. He says he fixed this guy's car, but he needed it back to use, and he never got around to doing the state inspection. Then, next thing he knows, he's being sued in court for all the work he did getting the engine running? Please. He's accused of not fixing things right.
All parties, please raise your right hands.
Welcome back to the People's Court. Next case on the docket. The plaintiff brought his car to the defendant's auto repair shop to fix his engine. Says the guy never did the work. But the defendant says that he did indeed get the guy's engine running, and he has no clue why this guy is harassing him and suing him because he fixed the guy's engine just fine. It's the case of car-catastrophe.
Thank you, Douglas.
You're welcome.
Okay, Mr. Sumbasakis, you are suing Astoria Boulevard Gas Incorporated, represented here by Mr. Jose Barcia, the owner, for $1,186.14. You say you are out as a result of their negligence. Tell me what happened.
Well, basically, I brought my car to Jose to fix whatever needed to be fixed to pass inspection. I had a check engine light on. I brought it to him. He told me he wanted about $650, $600. I told him whatever I need to do, whatever you need to do for me to pass this inspection, do it. He took my car in. About a week or so, I needed the car. Yes, I picked it up, and I would drop it off, going to pick up my daughter. A couple of weeks later, about 3 weeks, he had the car.
Yeah, but
He told me to
why
come
I'm
pick
sorry,
up.
back up. So if he has a car a week, what is he doing to it during that week?
He's going through the computer, the inspection computer, to see what codes come up, so he could fix whatever codes come
Right,
up.
but there's a code that comes up, and then he fixes it. According to you, you'd have the car there for a week, and then you'd pick it up over the weekend because you needed it. Then you'd bring it again. Then you'd pick it up the next weekend because you needed it. How often did you do that?
This happened about 3 weeks, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay, what was
Not
taking
4.
so long, Mr. Barcia?
Well, because when he came in, he had a specific code which would keep the car from passing inspection. So we would have to diagnose it first to see what was wrong with it.
Well, you diagnose
And
it
then
by
when we
seeing the
replaced-
code. So then what did you do? Did you do a repair?
Yes, we did a repair.
Okay, what was the first
We did a
repair you
repair.
did?
The first code that came in was a PO 456. It came in. We fixed the repair.
What does PO 456 indicate?
It's a small leak in the emission system.
Okay, and so what did you do to fix that?
So then we replaced the intake manifold valve.
How long did that take?
That took about a couple of days because we had to wait for a part for that.
Okay.
And then once that's replaced, we have to erase the light, and then the car has to we have to run the car, drive the car, in order for the monitors to set again.
Okay.
And it was taking a long time to set. It wouldn't set.
What do you mean it was taking a long time it wouldn't set? Doesn't the check engine light come off when you fix the problem?
Yes, the check engine light does come off when you fix the car and you manually erase the light. But then the monitors, they all go back to red, like they're not run. They have to be run in order for them to set. So the computer.
How long do they have to run for them to set so the computer?
No one car is the same, especially like if you have something else wrong with it, then it would keep them from setting.
Okay, so why did you take the car back from him rather than have him drive the number of miles required to see if the light shuts off?
Because he was working, he didn't have time to drive it as the way it had to be driven and the amount of times it had to be driven. So we would do it.
What's the amount of time it has to be driven? You say no two cars are alike. Give me what was the amount of time this car had to be driven?
Okay. This car, we had to drive it more than usual because the lights would not set.
So it just kept showing you that you still had the small leak in the emission system?
No, it didn't. It wasn't showing that it had the leak. It was showing, it was simply the monitors were not setting. They have to reset in order to go into the inspection. If they don't reset,
did they ever reset for you?
Not all of them.
Okay.
Not all of them.
Did you ever find out why the rest of them didn't?
Well, during one of those times when he brought the car back, there was the light had came back on, and there was another code on there, which I tried to explain to him that it was a different code. That was the second repair that we were doing.
The first repair you guys did what again? You replaced the what?
The first repair was when we replaced the intake manifold valve.
Did you order a new one?
It was replaced.
Yes, and now I'm asking you, what did you replace it with? Did you replace it with a new one, aftermarket part, a junkyard part? What did you replace it with?
No, it was replaced. It was replaced with a used one.
That you found where?
In the junkyard.
Do you have a receipt for it?
Yes, I do. Not on me now, but yes, I do have one.
No, I need it
Because the
now
person that
because I'm doing the trial now.
the days that the car came in for those repairs, I was not here.
Mr. Sumbakis, what ends up happening?
The check engine light came back on. That's what happened.
Okay,
So
but
when I called that,
how does a check engine light come back on if the monitor lights don't reset?
he gave me a temporary inspection for 10
Wait,
days.
I don't care
Supposedly
about the
everything was
inspection. I know that's
computer. Sorry.
your only game, but
Right.
I'm trying to ask Mr. Barcia, did he bring the car back to you to find out why the check engine light was on?
Yes, he brought it back to me, and then when we checked it, we found another code, which when I spoke to him, I let him know that it was another code on there, that it wasn't the same code that we have repaired already.
Okay.
It was a different code.
And this code was saying to
And
do
then
what?
This code was also saying that it was having an emissions problem.
And therefore, to fix it, you should do what?
Well, when you're given the code, it doesn't tell you what to do. It just
All right.
tells you what the problem is, and then
So
you have
then
to
what we're saying
manually
is
start
you got
inspecting
the same code that you got before?
No.
How
No.
is this code different from the other one?
It's related to the emission system, but it's not the same as the other one.
How is it different?
This code, the second code that came up was a PO 457, which is also an emissions leak, but not from the first repair that we did.
All right. So do you charge him for a second repair?
Yes. So this time, when we were trying to fix it, the code just kept coming back right away. This time it wasn't. It didn't stay off or anything. It just kept coming back up. And that's the code that we weren't able to find when the day came where Lucas got upset and just didn't bring the car back.
All right, you bring the car instead to a different mechanic after that, right? And where do you take it?
I took it to Olympus Body Shop, and the gentleman there, Mike, I told him exactly what happened with Jose, and he ran the test on the car. And the part that the defendant's saying that he changed, which is the manifold valve, they called the dealership and the aftermarket place in front of me, which said they didn't have it. He charged me dealer price for this part.
Says who he charged you dealer price?
Well, the $400 price is about the price that the
How
valve
do I know
costs
that?
from the dealership.
Did he ever represent it was a dealer part?
That's what I was told too.
Okay.
So,
did he ever represent to you on anything in writing that he had bought the part from the dealer?
No, but
Okay.
then we looked further
But
into the part.
according to the second repairman, he says nobody replaced this intake manifold.
Yeah,
Correct?
that's also.
Upon inspecting the intake runner valve, the valve does not look like it was replaced. The valve looks like it was wiped clean. Called the dealer to see if the part was available and the price, and the dealer told us the valve has been discontinued. We checked for aftermarket part. There are no aftermarket intake manifold runner valves available. I can't see how this part was replaced, and at the same time, we found no codes for intake manifold issues. All the codes we found have to do with failure of the evaporative emission system. The car was misdiagnosed if the mechanic said it needed an intake manifold runner valve. What work did they end up doing to get the light off?
It's on the receipt. So basically, they
changed the gas
misdiagnosed.
cap.
They said that from what
The
Mike was
old
saying,
gas
the car was
cap check engine light problem. It's like the first thing my husband always says.
That's
It's
right.
the first thing
Check
you
that
check
first.
when you have a check engine light. So you had no gas cap, right?
Oh, that was also another situation where I left my car at Jose. When I went to pick it up one of those times, my gas cap, his worker said, was missing one morning when they got to the shop.
Wait,
or something.
I thought you
and
knew
he
that.
replaced
I
it.
thought you knew that you had no gas cap.
No, how would I know I have no gas cap?
Well, when you go to put gas in it, you notice that there's no cap. I tried that with my husband. He didn't buy it either.
He wasn't going for that.
He wasn't going for it. I didn't know there was no gas cap.
So what? I was driving my car around with no gas cap? No, I went to pick up my car from Jose, like I was going to do, to go pick up my daughter, and his worker told me that if it was the night before or that morning, someone took my gas cap. I realized that they had took my gas too. It's like, I don't know, but the gas cap was missing, and Jose's worker said they replaced it. When I went to Mike and he ran the car on the computer, he said that my leak that is keeping the light on is on top of my gas tank. It's a VAP leak on top of my gas tank. And also it's showing another VAP leak, which ended up being the gas cap that Jose put on my car because it wasn't doing a right suction. So he created another leak instead of fixing the one that he was supposed to.
I'm sorry, how does that create another leak?
It's on the receipt. It doesn't do a right VAP. The VAP, the gas cap had no VAP system. It didn't do the suction.
I don't know what you're saying, the suction. I don't know what that is. And I don't know if, I think what you're trying to say is that it was providing another check engine like code because it didn't fit right. So they put another gas cap on and that check engine light code went away. What else did you pay your friend in Mineola to do? What did he do to your car?
He diagnosed my car.
That's it?
He found out, no, then he did some more work to pass the inspection for me.
What was the work he did to pass the inspection?
Okay, so New York State inspection, it says work requested. Test drive vehicle to perform drive cycles to set New York City inspection monitors to ready mode so the car can pass the inspection, approximately 68 miles driven. That's how he passed my inspection.
So basically drove your car for 68 miles.
Yeah.
Which is exactly what the defendant had told you to do, to drive the car until the thing reset. You take it to the second guy. The second guy drives it 68 miles for it to reset. That's what he actually does for you. And then he also tells you that first guy didn't change anything because the dealer doesn't have that part. But what then did he fix? Besides driving the car for 68 miles to get the thing to reset, which is important to you because that's how you were able to get the inspection sticker, how did he get that second problematic light off?
The VAP leak on top of the gas tank. Well, I don't know. He passed it, the inspection, so that problem will be fixed. That problem will be fixed.
What do you mean will be fixed? How did the light go off? How did the light go off?
The light is still on. The light's still on.
So then how did you pass inspection?
Well, I guess if they drive it approximately 68 miles, it resets all the codes. I still have to get this problem fixed. The only reason why I haven't got it fixed is because I have no money to get it fixed right now. I asked, I made sure with Mike to confirm all this, that nothing happened the way it's not supposed to. He said I did whatever. So now he did some extra work on my car.
I understand all that. I really wish I was able to reach him, or that you had called him as a witness. That really would have been the good thing.
To be honest with you,
Yeah, go ahead. Be honest.
I did want to call him as a witness, and I asked him. He said, from mechanic to mechanic, he doesn't want to be the person that's going to put this guy on blast.
Right, but that's a problem.
But he already did.
Yeah, he already did by writing this, so I don't know.
So, but we never said we're going to bring up his name or his company name on live TV or whatever, and I hope.
Well, you submitted it into evidence.
You could call him.
I'm not the one who.
You could call him. I told him that we're going to go to people's court and we're going to get to the bottom of this. He said, no problem.
So he's not going to answer the phone if you give me his cell phone. He's not going to want to get involved. You're telling me he refused to get involved. Because let me explain something. Everybody stop talking and listen to me. When you're in court and you're in small claims, the rules are a little more relaxed, because you're not lawyers, you don't have lawyers here, so we relax the rules. But we don't throw the rules out the window either. There's still, issues of material fact that have to be investigated that I have to cross-examine to make sure that it stands up to, the test. And so one of those things is the stuff Mike is saying. I'm concerned because Mike's conclusion that this repair was not done is a pretty severe conclusion. And he puts it on paper. So I don't know, most mechanics wouldn't do that. So he's already, just like the defendant says, he's already kind of put himself out there. I now need to take it home and ask him, well, why do you say that? Because when I see in there that he says the phrase, I called the dealer doesn't have the part, that wouldn't be a reason to say that. But a mechanic would know that sometimes you used a used part when you're repairing a car, a used part from another car where that part is still good,
Maybe it wasn't good, though. Maybe just how my
maybe it wasn't, and then you just got, maybe it wasn't, and then you just, but see, Mike didn't do any work on your car to get you to pass other than drive the thing 68 miles.
And diagnose and make sure that the problem was not
Diagnose and what? Mike didn't do anything to your car, so your car passed inspection after the only person who repaired it was the defendant's shop. So then you got your money's worth. So I'm trying to figure out why you don't just bring the car back to the defendant to repair if it's the same issue as before. All right, gentlemen, we're done. Mr. Sumbasakis, I understand your frustration, and I appreciate that you brought me this document, but without a chance to cross-examine, your entire case rests on this document, and it has internal inconsistencies that concern me, like supposing that something didn't get fixed because the dealer doesn't have it in stock. That is a weird thing to say. But Mr. Barcia, I am going to order you to provide me, I'm giving you 24 hours to provide me with the receipt for this part, which you say you can find, you just need to find it. You should have had it here for this trial. So I need you to provide that receipt, okay? Otherwise, I'm going to change my verdict. Do you understand me, Mr. Barcia? I want the receipt. Is there a problem with that? Is 24 hours enough time?
No, 24 hours is enough time. I'll look for it.
Okay. All right. That's my verdict. And based on what I have heard and assuming that I see that receipt, my verdict in this case is for the defendant.
So it didn't work out for the plaintiff in this case. He's not going to get the money as long as the defendant can provide the document that the judge needs. Lucas, let me ask you what you're thinking right now.
It is what it is. If he could provide a receipt and say that he changed it from a dealer, from a junkyard, even though that I don't want my car part being a junkyard part, I just want everyone to be fair, and basically that's it.
Oh, well, that's a tough spot to be in. I'm sorry it didn't work out for you. You know, good luck to you. What can I tell you? All right, Mr. Barcia, you think you can find that receipt, the document that the judge needs? You're going to have to do it.
Yes, I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure it's in the files. I just have to look for it. I'm pretty sure it is.
Okay.
It should be no problem.
All righty. All right. Long as you do that, then you're off the hook. Good enough. All right.
Yeah.
Good luck to you now. Hope you find that document. And with that, we'll wrap it up for this case. Harvey?
Doug, we've had so many auto repair problems in the People's Court. When you take your car to an auto repair shop, if you have any question about parts, what you should do is preserve the one that was replaced, and then you may have to go to an expert to show that the new part was not actually new or was somehow faulty. In this case, the plaintiff just couldn't prove that because the fact that this car actually passed inspection in many ways just cements the defendant's case. That is exactly what happened here, and that's why the plaintiff lost.
I live in a condominium in Queens. Can I sue my upstairs neighbor for punitive damages for disturbing the peace and quiet enjoyment of my apartment for snoring? He snores so loud you can hear him right through the ceiling, and he wakes me up in the middle of the night and disturbs my sleep.
Oh, my goodness.
That hits close to home.
That hits a little close to home.
If you're the judge on the case.
Yeah. You know, these cases, first of all, yes, in theory, you can sue a neighbor for interfering with your quiet enjoyment of your own property. So if someone's playing really loud music or doing something, it's kind of a nuisance suit, and you can get an injunction for certain activities that they're doing there that are too loud. You could get damages to your peaceful enjoyment of the place, et cetera, et cetera. Now, these cases are very, 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 very hard to prove. I feel very bad for the person asking this question because it is time to go to certain other...
Move? You're thinking?
Yeah, I think it's time.
Move.
I think I would move. I wouldn't stay living there.
No.
I would move.
No.
But I guess short of that, you have a recorder, you have witnesses, you talk to your neighbor, you get earplugs, and learn to sleep with them, which I have not been able to do.
White noise machine, maybe.
White noise machine is what one of our daughters does now, and she travels everywhere with this little white noise machine.
Right.
Particularly when she comes home, because she says that I'm very noisy, that I'm loud when I wake up in the morning, and when I get on the phone at the ungodly hour of 9 a.m. when she wants to sleep. So yeah, it's time to look into other options.
Sleep deprivation is not a good
Awful.
thing. It makes people crazy.
Awful.